Josh, this is all you, man. So take it away.
Yes, sir. So this is a segment that we are now dubbing Takes from the Deep End. This is essentially me scouring the web and for non-copyright sake, Reddit, Bleacher Report, ESPN, and kind of all over the place, and pulling takes that I think are quote unquote hot takes and blindly giving them to my fellas here and just getting a live and honest reaction, right? These are not necessarily takes, and just for those that are watching, these aren't takes that we agree with or disagree with. You will find out the opinions for those that are answering, but these are just spicy takes that I thought were interesting, that I thought would be a fun discussion. So as the new guy, Mr. Cole, we're going to start with you, sir. Okay. So the format here, I'm going to pop up a banner with a take. I'm going to read it for those viewers and those that are watching later. And then it is solely up to you and obviously Anthony or Keith to chime in and tell me how bad it is, how good it is, what your thought is, and so on and so forth. All right.
Gotcha.
Perfect. All right. Flores was right. Tua is soft. No other quarterback would have missed a game of that significance, meaning last week's game or this coming week's game, because of a sore hip. What are your thoughts?
First off, I do want to point out, just very loose behind the scenes here, Josh pretty much told us, hey, just pick a number. And we kind of could infer this was for this segment. I did pick number 1. So this is my fault for going.
You did this to yourself, Taylor.
I know, I did this to myself. This should show my intelligence here. But point being, with the Flores Tua soft debate, I don't know, man. It's a thing where I'm kind of just over this whole Flores era entirely. Mm-hmm. There's been so much talk about it from, did he treat Tua poorly? Did Flores get a fair shake? All that stuff that I'm a little just over getting into. But when it comes to this injury here, it sounds like if this was a Tua wanting to play thing, he would have played. From everybody, from the coaches to his fellow players, it sounds like this was he was not medically cleared, so he did not play. Now, you could have a long form discussion of whether or not that means we should have given him $60 million plus a season and whether or not we should do that long term. But the whole Tua is soft thing and Flores was right. I don't know. I feel like we'd be in a just as bad, if not worse, situation with Flores as head coach still.
Excellent. Do you guys have anything to add?
I was just gonna say I love the fickleness of fans. When Flores was here, we were pitchforks at the ready. Mm-hmm. Let's get rid of him. Yep. And now that we're 3 years beyond the Flores era and he's dominating with the Minnesota defense up there, we never doubted he was a good defensive coordinator. Everybody's like, nah, Flores was right. Tua is soft.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Kaepernick thing.
Yeah.
Right. Where it's like 10 years after Kaepernick hasn't played a single significant snap of football, people are still out there saying, oh, well, he should start over Tua. It's like, all right, guys. Come on.
Kaepernick could do it. Yeah. He wasn't even that good when he played. Oh, yeah. All right.
Anything else to add before we jump to the next one, fellas?
Tua is not soft.
I completely agree with you.
Tua is not soft. He wants to be out there. He's a competitor. Mm-hmm. This injury, whatever it is much worse than I think anybody realizes.
Yeah, I do know that it's not his surgically repaired hip from college.
Well, it is on that hip. It's just a different area of the hip.
Okay.
Yeah. I think McDaniel described it as same hip or same side, I think, in different spot of it.
Yeah.
So it's not the same kind of injury.
Oh. One last thing I'll say is I don't think he's soft mentally as a human being, but certainly his body is not.
Yeah.
Up to par.
It's time to wonder. It's time to maybe question whether or not Tua's body was built to withstand in the NFL, just in general. It's time to have that discussion at this point. With the concussions, the hip, it's just been various ailments.
Rib injuries, ankle injuries.
Oh, yeah. It's time to start having that discussion.
We have a
All
lot
right.
of season to do that. That's for sure.
Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. All right, fellas.
That's why I'm holding off.
Yeah, let's
This is gonna be a conversation.
Yeah, it's going to be a big conversation, especially given the fact that we can get out of his contract. Let's move to the next one. So this is going to be for Anthony. All right. We can win with Huntley. This dude is a true dual threat quarterback. Mike McDaniel just needs to keep the same game plan, and Huntley can get us to the playoffs.
Well, this is kind of a trick question because it's not really up to us if we get to the playoffs. I mean, yes, we can win this game, and that gives us a 22% chance. But it's really up to the Chiefs' backups to get us. Carson Wentz has a better chance of getting us to the playoffs than Snoop Huntley does.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But listen, Huntley played well last week. And that's, I mean, we talked about it already. You know, I thought that he had a good game.
Mm-hmm.
He is a dual threat quarterback in the definition of the word, and that he can run and he can pass. I don't foresee this guy as a starting quarterback anytime soon. But certainly if he plays like he did last week again, we can start to have that conversation as to whether or not we actually do have a capable backup behind Tua now. But we'll see, because we've only seen it once against a Browns team that, to be honest, is really flailing at this point. So and the Jets are flailing too. So even if he wins this game, we may not know for sure if we have anything there. And truthfully, I'm not confident that the coaching staff could tell us that either, given their choices for backup quarterback this year.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. That's a very good point. And word is that they've already opened up conversations to re-sign him for next season.
Of course. I told you that last show.
You sure did. You sure did.
You
It's going to
did.
be interesting, fellas. Anybody want to add anything to this before I jump over to Keith's?
I will say, just on the whole Skylar Thompson thing real quick, I can forgive Tua missing that last game. But you know what I won't forgive? I won't forgive him being out to the point to where we had to go re-sign Skylar Thompson. We were rid of him. It was done. The era was over. And all of a sudden, now he's back on the sideline, and I realize, like, oh no, he's never going to leave. He's about to be a 10-year vet on the team.
Yep. Yeah, we said it on one of our past shows where we think that he's got dirt on somebody.
Yeah.
Look, now that he knows the system, he's going to be on practice squads for the rest of his career, especially since they got rid of most of the practice squad rules. You're just going to see Skylar Thompson on the Niners, on the
I mean, good for him though, right?
Packers,
Go get your money, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Just somewhere else. For the love of God, somewhere else. All right, fellas. Keith.
Yes, sir.
Are your palms sweaty?
A little bit.
This is going to be
This week?
This is going to be a clean sweep of Tua conversations.
Okay.
Given Tua's lack of arm strength and lack of ability to scramble, Penix Jr. and Jaden Daniels are already better quarterbacks than him.
Oof.
Now, again, just for the viewers that might have joined us after the segment was introduced, these are not our opinions. This is a segment called Takes from the Deep End, where I go scour the web and pull hot takes that people have said on various sports media blogs.
I'm a big Tua guy, and if all things are equal, if Tua is healthy, then I take Tua over a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL. That being said, I was impressed by what I saw from Michael Penix on Sunday night. And I've been impressed by what I've seen from Jaden Daniels all season. His rushing ability he might be the second best rushing quarterback in the NFL behind Lamar Jackson right now. Like he's been that good.
I mean, I would argue maybe third because Josh Allen's pretty damn good.
Yeah, Josh Allen is
we have
pretty
a
damn
Bills
good.
fan in the chat here. I mean, somebody's got to say it.
That's why he said it. He knew what he was doing. Keith was calculated, okay?
Yeah. But
he knows how to drive viewerships and comments.
No, but I was impressed by what I saw from Michael Penix, and I liked him coming out of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I've been, like I said, I've been impressed by Jaden Daniels, but I still think Tua is, all things being equal, I would still take Tua over them.
Yeah, I mean, I so much I drafted him in my dynasty league.
Now, the thing you have to understand about Tua is that Tua is probably the most accurate quarterback in the NFL right now.
Not probably, and he is.
Yeah. So accuracy is one of those things, like speed, like the rushing ability of Jaden Daniels. You can't really teach a quarterback to be as accurate as Tua is with the football. You can get a quarterback to be more accurate, which is what the Bills have done with Josh Allen. When Josh Allen came out of Wyoming, his accuracy was the major knock on him. and Josh Allen, went into the lab and got to work and made himself a more accurate passer. But he will never be as accurate as Tua. Most of the quarterbacks in the NFL can only dream of being as accurate with the football as Tua is with his ball. So, man, it's tough, but I would take Tua over those guys still.
No, I will add that if Michael Penix had Tua's accuracy, that game on Sunday night is not even close. I mean, he missed so many wide open shots.
He did. He absolutely did, Anthony. That being said, I was still really impressed with Michael Penix. Mm-hmm. That last throw he made to send that game into overtime was a primetime throw.
Yeah,
that was
but again,
throw.
he's gonna. Hopefully, he blossoms into something good, right? Because I mean, Tua's a night and day better quarterback than he was.
Yeah,
year one, year two. I mean, we've said it on the show. Tua has gotten better at something every year. The thing that we all want him to get better at, obviously, is staying healthy, right? Maybe that's next year, guys. Who knows?
Yeah. To that point, welcome to the show, State of Zen, and we talk about this often, my dude. We're not overlooking the fact that he needs to stay healthy. It's just answering the question at hand.
No, and that's the thing. Like, if all things aren't equal, maybe I would take Penix or Jaden Daniels over Tua. Yeah. Because if Tua isn't going to stay healthy, then what good is he? I agree with you. Mm-hmm. I 100% agree with you. But again, with Tua, it's always been projection. It's always been, if this guy can stay healthy, he's going to be a monster. Well, I'm saying it again. If Tua can stay healthy, he's going to be a monster in the NFL, but he needs to stay healthy first.
I do believe that conversation will be had in Washington and in Atlanta as well. With rushing quarterbacks, it always is. Like, those two both have small frame. Well, Jaden has a small frame and Penix is a little bit bigger. But, I mean, the more hits you take a quarterback, the less likely you are to play. That's just the way it works.
But Jaden Daniels is also pretty good at protecting himself. Yeah. And Lamar Jackson's gotten much better at that too. Like, Lamar Jackson's got a slight frame, but he's learned how to protect himself in the NFL.
So at this point in time, would you guys take Tua or would you take either Jaden Daniels or Michael Penix? Quick fire.
Jaden.
Keith.
Penix.
Tua, Jaden, or Penix? You take Penix over Tua? Yeah. What about you, Tyler?
I would take Jaden.
Yeah. And I'd take Penix. So, hey, Tua, you're out, baby.
None of us picked Tua in the whole conversation.
This one is to Tyler. Or do you need a minute? You just muted yourself.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay, perfect. All right. With coaches like Vrabel and Gruden and Pete Carroll available, it would be great to see this team move away from Mike McDaniels and get this team a coach that is an actual proven hard-nosed head coach.
We just did this. That was kind of the whole point to Flores.
Mm-hmm.
Was this hard-nosed coach was a great coordinator at the defensive position. He'll bring toughness to the team. And we didn't have an offense. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, now it's the complete opposite, where we have an offense and we've had 3 defense coordinators in a row. But no, I'm if anything, if we move on from McDaniel, if we end up cleaning house, I would want somebody on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Or somebody like an Aaron Glenn from Detroit who is
Jesus, yeah, I love him.
I don't know what he's doing. Like, he's
magic.
It's got to be, because he has nobody there that is a star player except for, I guess, Kirby Joseph at this point. Everybody else is on IR.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Far-fetched away from the Javon Hollins and the Jalen Ramseys of the world. And
I don't think we have 9 interceptions as a team.
I don't think so.
And that is a good point. Real quick, the comment that just popped up that these coaches listed all have previous experience. That's the one difference between that and the Flores thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas somebody like Vrabel could come in and, okay, at least we know what we're going to get with him, right?
Yeah.
With a Gruden, we know what we're going to get with him. I would much rather have somebody like Vrabel than John Gruden. I don't think that his tenure with the Raiders, before it even went off the rails with all the stuff with the we'll just go ahead and move on from that and him suing the league and everything. Even before that, it wasn't going particularly well. I know he was doing fine. I think.
Hey, knock on the table if you hear me.
Yeah, it was like a 6-3 record or something like that.
He was turning it around there, down there.
Yeah, he was starting to turn it around, but still, I'd rather have somebody like a Vrabel if
Yeah.
I had to pick one of those three.
I remember the Gruden era and the Raiders very differently, guys. He took a TV analyst and made him his GM, and he didn't draft a single good player on that team.
Yep, which was shocking to me
And
because
plus, John Gruden is like in trouble with the league. Nobody's touching that with a 10-foot pole.
I mean, Matt Mayock, I thought was such a good analyst of talent when he was doing his draft shows. I was like, dude, this is a home run pick when they did it. Boy, was I wrong again.
Only other
What
thing I
else
would
is
add to that
Gruden
is
pick?
Pete Carroll, a hard-nosed coach. That no.
Yeah,
He's not.
to me, he's a 30-year older Mike McDaniel. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he's a player's coach for sure.
Yeah.
But but that's the thing. Like he does add a certain cachet to he brings a certain cachet with him. He's won national championship with USC, won a Super Bowl with Seattle. Like that's a guy that when you're tuning out, if players are tuning out Mike McDaniel, I don't know what they are. I'm not saying they are. They're not going to tune out Pete Carroll.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, I didn't mean that to come across as I wouldn't want him. I would welcome Pete Carroll with open arms.
Okay,
I just thought it was funny that he was put in the conversation of like hard-nosed
Yeah.
coaches.
Yeah, true.
All right, Keith, you're up, buddy.
All right, let's do it.
Achane is more valuable than Waddle at this point.
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going there. Achane is a guy that the Dolphins have probably overused this season, if we're being honest about it. You don't want to give Achane as many touches as you've given him. He's got a slighter frame. You can't use him in the short yardage situations. Jalen Waddle is a guy who's going to be our new number one. I don't know that they're going to keep Tyreek Hill after this season.
Mhm.
And
Hope not.
Jalen Waddle is going to be the man. So I would value them both equally. They're both tools and weapons that this offense can use moving forward. But I'm not going to sit here and say that Achane is more valuable than Waddle because that's selling Waddle short. Waddle's had a rough season, but he'll bounce back. We've seen what Waddle can do. So don't undervalue Waddle, even if you do love Devon Achane, because I do. I love Devon Achane, but we need a back that's going to complement him. We need to get a bruiser up in here. We need to get like a 230-pound back.
Yeah, we said it on the show last week.
Yeah,
or maybe it was on the postgame show. Like, if we need to get 1 yard on 4th and 1, I'd rather punt it.
yeah.
I have zero confidence in anyone on this team.
Well, there's a reason that
getting 1 yard.
There's a reason why they've handed it off to Alec Ingold as many times as they have on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. We need a true bruiser. We need to get the thunder to Devon Achane's lightning. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, we need to get size to Jalen Waddle's petiteness.
Yeah. We could use a big wide receiver as well. But again, these guys are tools. This is not
T. Higgins. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I didn't hear you. What?
He might be going up to New England, guys. I'm pretty sure T. Higgins is going to be a top target for the Patriots.
Hey, let me ask you guys a
Contract,
question.
too.
This is completely unrelated, and I know, and I just doesn't need to turn into a comment. What if we were to offer Tyreek Hill to Cincinnati for a T. Higgins swap?
They're the cheapest organization in sports. I don't think they would do it.
Have like
one
three
can
scouts.
dream, man.
Like
I mean, I would take that deal.
Yeah,
But
so
would Cincinnati? That's the problem. Would Tyreek? I don't know if Tyreek has a no trade clause, but I don't see him wanting to go to Cincinnati, honestly.
no. Before we get to the last one for Anthony here, Mr. Snickle Fritz, how do you guys feel about Tyreek's tweets and posts? I think Tyreek is very much like Jimmy Butler, where he likes to just stoke the flames because he's a shit starter and he thinks he's funny and
Yeah,
shut
up, Tyreek.
Yeah,
Shut up.
when a player has had more babies and touchdowns in a season, like why don't you just shut up and play football?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch these guys for their personalities.
His act is getting old here in Miami. And I kind of said it last off season where it's like, at a certain point, we're gonna tire of his antics and just say, look, maybe you should just go somewhere else, pal.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of Dolphins fans are kind of reaching that point, even though he does still have some good football left in him.
All right, let's get to this last one so we can get on to the Jets game, right? Anthony, this team is bad, and it's time that we all recognize serious changes are needed. A bad team isn't fun to watch, but a mediocre team is even worse. We have no title chance and no draft optimism. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know how the no draft optimism fits in with that.
I think
it
it's because we win too many games, so we're like later in the first
Oh,
round.
that does make sense then. Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with this. I do think we have a lot of bad players on this team. I think we're going to lose about half of our starting lineup at the end of this season because they just weren't good enough to play. Or they were good enough to play. Obviously, they're playing for us, but they're not good enough to succeed. Listen, we're 8-8 for a reason, and if our schedule's just a little bit harder, are we even that good? So, while I don't share that sense of pessimism as that was written, it was written very pessimistic point of view. I feel like I do agree that there are a lot of bad players on this team who will not be here next year, and that's why I don't care if we make the playoffs, I guess you could say. Like, I'm still rooting for it, but I'm not. My hopes aren't up. Like, if we make the playoffs, oh my god, we're gonna do something great. No, we're not. We're gonna get destroyed. So yeah. So
hey, any given Sunday, man. No, I'm kidding.
It's not the week of getting. It's not the week of analyzing a game, getting to talk Dolphins football. We're gonna talk Dolphins football regardless here, but it's. I hear what you're saying, Anthony, and I know like we disagreed about that on Sunday. I still want us to go dancing, man.
It's also like you're not going to get that better of a pick. The way that the league is right now, to where so many teams are like 4-12, 5-11, you're going to be sitting 12 to 15, really, no matter what you do. So might as well just try to make the playoffs.
I mean, unless we shock the world and beat the Bills.
Man.
Well, anyways,
yeah.
Well,
so,
I mean,
anyways,
to your point, we're the 15th pick right now, and if we make the playoffs, the best we can do is the 19th pick. So it's only it's a 4-point drop, but that's not even the thing for me. It's just I don't want to see us get destroyed again. I don't want to have to go through the stress. I have all these gray hairs. These are Dolphins gray hairs.
Look at them. Look at them.
Yeah,
Look at them.